Hey guys, today we are going to discuss the trade deadline master set players for week 1. I want to go over them and do my ranking and tier list like I always do. I wasn't able to this past weekend because I was in Raleigh for the Stadium Series game. I also want to talk about ranking and what you guys want to see from a ranking list. So what I think going forward is I always do S tier and then A tier, B tier, C tier, whatever and so forth. I think what I want to make it is S tier is a must make in my opinion. Like I think that is an absolute banger card. I think that you will not regret it, that kind of thing. And then A tier is extremely good, but there might be better, and then so on and so forth. Let me know if you like that one as opposed to S tier being like, this is the best card of the event going forward, okay? All right, that being said, let's get into ranking the week 1 trade deadline MSPs. All right, we're going to start out in the B tier, and this, again, I'm leaning heavily on my community and players that I've played against. I have been holding off now on week 1 MSPs and making them because week 2 has been so much better in the prior events that I don't want to get absolutely roasted and torched again by making a week 1 MSP, being locked in, and then not being able to make a second one. So this, again, is me leaning on the community and what I'm seeing when I go up against them. Schomburg, so far, has been a very good goaltender. The issue is, again, as it's been all year, the goaltending position as a whole has been an absolute disaster. I've been using the 88 Connor Hellebuck with light work, and I think light work is the, I don't want to say must-have superstar ability, but the most impactful when it comes to how NHL 23 is played. It activates on pretty much every shot, especially for people that go for the low far side ones. And me personally, I know I've been struggling in this game, but an 80% save percentage or an 85% save percentage was kind of on the higher end, whereas last year it was much higher because there was a lot less shots that actually went in 22. But in 23, my Connor Hellebuck that I'm using with Lightwork is a 900 save percentage. So keep that in mind, do with that what you will, but this looks to be an actual usable goaltender. The other issue is why he's in the B tier is because he's like 300,000 coins to make or buy, and I just don't think spending that much money on a goaltender is worth it when they're going to come out with some 99 overall that you can use for the rest of the year. Also in the B tier is the 94 Brian Campbell. This is the card that I've seen the least, and the people in my Discord, again, I have almost 4,000 members from the Hut community in my Discord, guys. If you're not in it, go join the link down below. It's there. We talk about Hut all day long. This is the one that I've seen the least, and the people that have used Brian Campbell, just not seeing the huge benefit like you do with Cale Makar. I think the big benefit to Cale Makar is that he's got like 99 speed and acceleration, but his Team of the Year card also has shutdown. He does get gold stick 'em up, which is nice, but where you're seeing gold stick 'em up be super useful is on the absolute like troll tall guys like Victor Hedman, Arvidsson, or Edvinsson, those kind of guys, because their reach is so far. Because Brian Campbell's 5'10", his reach is much shorter, and while stick 'em up is a good ability, it loses the impactfulness that someone that's 6'6" has. On top of that, stick checking in this game is so 50-50 that it kind of makes stick 'em up not as impactful, especially on the smaller players. Seeing Eye is good, but you have to be a certain type of player to use Seeing Eye, and again, at this stage, any ability points, they have to be super impactful. Elite Edges is good, especially on a player like this, but again, do you want to spend 4? He's a great skater and a good shooter. Body checking is high, but you're still not going to knock people off the puck to have unstoppable force. You're going up against Jaromir Jagr, Nathan McKinnon, those big unstoppable force guys. Unless they have truculence or they are bigger, they are just not going to knock people off the puck. I think this is a really fun card, especially because I remember this Brian Campbell trade, and it was when I first became a Sharks fan. However, I think that just the way the game plays, it's tough. You have to be a certain type of player to utilize the type of card Brian Campbell is. So if you like Cale Makar and you really like, you utilize him, you break the puck out, that kind of thing, maybe he goes into the A tier, but I think there's going to be far better defensemen that you can go after. All right, moving on to the A tier, we have the 94 Jeff Petrie, 6'3", Jeff Petrie cards are always very, very good because he's so big, and he usually has decent skating, just like this one does. 93 speed and acceleration, 97 agility. He's got 97 body check. This is a phenomenal card. The reason why I have him in the A tier is because, again, the cost is around 350,000, so that is quite a bit for a lot of players that don't have infinite funds, and because we're getting to the point now where every single MSP is so high rated that almost everyone is going to have max stats. So when you think about making a card like this, you have to be under the assumption that he's going to be on your first pairing, or at least top 2, and then that's going to lean heavily onto abilities. Like, the abilities are going to be what separates them. I think that this is a good card to make just as a defenseman, like for right-handed defenseman. Let's say you needed someone that plays on the second or third pairing. Maybe you have a God squad. Like, he's going to be on your team for a while because he's so big, doesn't really need many abilities. But 1T is not something you want to activate in NHL 23. It just doesn't go in a lot. Shea Weber has 99 shot accuracy and power, and it seemed like he was half decent with it, but you still don't see clean D-to-D one-timers go in. Seeing Eye, again, you have to be someone that goes for tip shots to use Seeing Eye. Elite Edges is fine as well, but there's no defensive ability. I'd much rather have the All-Star Game Shea Weber than this card. Is just going to be a much more impactful one. Not that this is a bad card at all. I just don't think he's an absolute must-make. Next up in the A tier, we've got the 94 Claude Giroux. This is a card that I've faced the most, and he has been definitely the most noticeable. He has been a really shifty skater. People are using Elite Edges on him, it appears. And then, obviously, you guys know I love Gold Quick Draw. I don't think you need it on multiple players, but if you don't have someone that has Gold Quick Draw, having one, meaning that no matter what, you can basically win a draw when you need to, with 99 faceoffs, is very impactful. His size is what holds him back from the S tier. Obviously, it's always the issue with Claude Giroux cards, but this is a very, very good card. If you needed a centerman, this is a card that you can go out and make and not be upset about. Again, I think that there's going to be better options for you, especially if you have like Holik and other big centermen like that. But yeah, you're not going to regret this Claude Giroux. He is definitely the one I've noticed the most. He's very shifty and a very, very good card. And then lastly, in the A tier is the 94 JT Miller. That is right. I don't think any of the week 1 MSPs are must-makes. We'll wait and see what happens in week 2. But this card is extremely fun and probably, like, unless week 2, it depends what comes out in week 2. But this is probably the most fun card for the way I play, because you guys know that I love going for tip shots. On the no money spent team, I might mess around and get JT Miller because you have lineup flexibility. He can play on the wing. He can play at center. No contest is a good ability, but it's not an absolute game changer. Either is big tipper and total clips. You don't need them to get point shots to go in off of tips. It's very easy to do without it. Close quarters is a very impactful ability and one that I would definitely activate. He's got great stats all the way around. There's really no complaints. He's 6'1", 218. I think he's probably the safest bet, especially at forward, from this release. Again, I've seen him play against me a few times, been very noticeable, but he doesn't have like unstoppable force or anything like that, or elite edges. So that's what kind of drops him out of that S tier. He's very close, but I think we're waiting for week 2 for an absolute must-make. So guys, let me know what you think in the comments section down below. I'm curious to see what we get for week 2 in terms of trade deadline players. It's always a pretty fun event, but thank you guys again for watching. I'll see you next time. Have a good one.